Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Media Boat Podcast. We're a
Mhm.
weekly edition where we talk about movies, TV, music, and video games, not necessarily in that order. My name is Mike. His name is Matt.
My name is Matt. His name is Mike. He learned the correct way to point, ladies and gentlemen. He's been getting it wrong. He
Only
fixed it,
took 150 episodes of us doing remote shows to
but who's
finally know which
counting?
way I'm supposed to point. Because normally you're
Who's
just sitting right here
counting?
on my left side.
But not at the moment. Yeah, this is episode 435 of the Media Boat Podcast. Today is May the 14th. Be with you. 2024. Yeah, let's get into it. Movies, video games, television, music, everything he said.
Yes, he does. And let's get right into it because I just saw your note for the intro.
Yeah.
Uh, so we're going to start with the music section. Start the music section with the Billboard. Start the Billboard with the Hot 100. And the hottest song in the land is the Drake Diss.
Yeah. Hottest diss in the land, more like.
Yes, hottest diss in the land. Not Like Us at number one by Kendrick Lamar. Coming in at two is Million Dollar Baby by Tommy Richmond. At three, Euphoria by Kendrick Lamar. Coming in at four, appropriately, For Night by Taylor Swift, featuring Post Malone. And rounding out your top five, a bar song, Tipsy by Shabuzi.
Yeah.
As for your Billboard 200, your albums chart, still at number one and not wanting to be dethroned, The Tortured Poets Department by Taylor Swift. That means that debuting at number two is Radical Optimism by Dua Lipa. If you'd like to hear our thoughts on that album, you can listen to last week's
Mhm.
podcast. Coming in at number three, One Thing at a Time by Morgan Wallen. At four, We Don't Trust You by Future and Metro Boomin. And rounding out your top five, 17, Best Album. 17 is right here by the band 17.
Just an absolutely chaotic name for an album.
It is the best album, at least according to them.
My guess is it's a greatest hits compilation,
I want to say so too.
but who
I want to
knows?
say this is a K-pop greatest hits 17.
Yeah.
If you like any of those albums, we have new releases, including Unprecedented Shit. That is the name of the album, Unprecedented Shit by Annie DeFranco. We also have Neon Pill by Cage the Elephant. Yes, that Cage the Elephant.
Mhm.
Uh, Amama by Crumb. Ooh La La by Guster. Glorious by Kate Hudson.
Yes,
That Kate
that Kate
Hudson.
Hudson.
We also have Still Kids by New Kids on the Block. Yes, those old men
Yeah.
of New Kids on the Block. Lady on the Cusp by Of Montreal. Please Don't Cry by Rhapsody. To All Trains by Shellac. Orgy of the Damned by Slash. Yes, that guitar playing Slash.
I think I'm not sure.
Uh, Room Under the Stars by Zayn. The Yvette Brothers by the Yvette Brothers. But everything get out of your way. Your biggest release in the land is Hit Me Hard and Soft by Billie Eilish. Sorry,
Yep.
by Grammy Award winning, Oscar winning
Yeah,
Billie Eilish.
it's true.
Yep. The E and the O of the GOT for Billie Eilish. 204. will you be listening to Billie Eilish?
Yeah, I'll check it out.
I might get around to it, but I am interested in hearing the Avett Brothers. It's
Okay.
like folk country album, a little bit like Turnpike Troubadours a bit.
Yeah. Okay.
So I saw the album and like I listened to like the two songs that like are out right now. It's like, okay, I could probably get into this. So might be checking that out when it fully releases.
All right, cool.
Let's get into some music news. And we start with Britney Spears.
Nope. No,
No?
wrong. No.
Oh, sorry. I saw conservatorship and I just assumed.
No, it is about a conservatorship, but different artist.
All right. So, a Los Angeles Superior Court judge has signed off on a conservatorship for Beach Boys music legend Brian Wilson, finding, quote, from clear and convincing evidence that a conservatorship of the person is necessary, and that Wilson consents and does not object, close quote. A petition to seek oversight for Wilson's affairs had been filed in January, shortly after Wilson's wife, Melinda Ledbetter Wilson, had died. In a decision filed on Thursday and reviewed by Variety, Superior Court Judge Gus T. May, that's Gus T, middle name,
Yes.
May,
Uh-huh.
I'm not calling him Gusty,
Yeah.
agreed with Wilson's doctor that the star suffers from a major neurocognitive disorder and requires help to make healthcare decisions. Two longtime cohorts, manager and publicist Gene Severs and business manager Leanne Hard, have been appointed of as the 81-year-old's singer's conservators.
Yeah. So when we were talking about the Britney Spears conservatorship, a lot of the conversation about her conservatorship was about how these programs do help for specific situations, typically older people who cannot make their own decisions because of, say, a degenerative neurological disease. Brittany, of course, didn't have one of those, but they held her in a conservatorship anyways. This, however, is an example of the one that actually makes sense. It seems like the family agreed to this. It seems like the doctors have proof that it's necessary, and even Brian himself seems to be okay with it. So I think this is ultimately probably a good thing, um, because he may need the assistance, especially with his wife having passed. Um, but yeah, there is an element of sadness still, though, regardless of whether the need is there. Because yeah, I mean, the guy's a legend. I mean, so much of Brian Wilson's music is, time-tested classic. And so it is kind of sad to see him reach kind of his twilight years in this way. It is depressing to think about. But I think it's for the best. I think that if it means he gets to stick around longer and live his life, then that's probably a good thing for him. And we should be happy that such a legend like him gets to continue living in any form. So yeah, it's interesting to see the conservatorship being applied in a way that actually makes sense.
Yeah, and I believe he's not currently touring with the Beach Boys,
No,
correct?
he hasn't for years. That's kind of been a
Yes.
point of contention between him and Mike Love, another member of the Beach Boys. They've kind of butted heads over the years about how Mike Love tours with the Beach Boys under the Beach Boys name forever, and Brian Wilson is barely involved, even though he was kind of the catalyst for most of their greatest music. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, you definitely they're separate entities in a way at this point.
Yes, but whenever we say Brian Wilson, we always include singer, founding member,
Well, yeah,
lyricist for the Beach Boys.
because he made the Beach Boys music that you like. That's that's the key. That's the key difference. Uh, Only tangentially involved in Kokomo. Don't blame him for that.
He's responsible for Jamaica off the Florida Keys.
Exactly.
Peace. All right. Did you listen to anything?
No, not this week, really. Just playing catch up. Kind of a busy week, actually.
All right.
So,
Well, like I said, we've got Billie Eilish coming up this week, so
yep.
prepare your tortured heart. I
Something
don't know
like
what to
that.
expect from this from this album, but I know what we can expect from us. Moving on right into video games as we start with
Yes.
new releases. We're going to start with Morbid, the game called Morbid,
Oh,
The
okay.
Lords of Ire. Out for everything. You got it. You can play it. We also have My Little Pony, a Zephyr Heights mystery.
Ooh.
Out for everything. You got it. You can play it. We also have Ghosts of Tsushima, Director's Cut, finally coming out for the PC, assuming you have a PlayStation login.
Yes.
Lorelei and the Laser Eyes for the PC and the Switch.
Fantastic name for a game. Just gonna put that out there.
Not a lot of Lorelei's out there.
No.
Uh, not since Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, I think I saw a tweet that was like, I wish this was a Gilmore Girls game. Like all
Right.
of a sudden she's Lauren Graham walking around with laser blasts coming out of her eyes. Be pretty good.
It's how she heats up her coffee. We also,
It's good.
we also have PO'd, Definitive Edition for everything. Wide release. You got it. You can play it.
PO'd. I believe that's an old PC shooter from like the 90s. So that's interesting.
We also have Read Only Memories, Neurodiver
Mm.
for everything. You got it. You can play it. There's also Biomutant coming for the Switch. Braid Anniversary Edition for the PC, PS4, and PS5.
Is on here for the second week in a row. I think it's finally coming out.
Neptunia Game Maker R, Evolution for the PS4, PS5, and the Switch. Fabledom for the PC. Homeworld 3 for the PC. And lastly, The Land Beneath Us for PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, and the Switch.
All right.
All right. Let's get into some news, shall we? And we start with Microsoft, as they will launch a web based mobile game store in July, which will be seeking to compete with Apple's App Store and the Google Play Store.
Mhm.
Speaking at the Bloomberg Technology Summit on Thursday, Xbox president Sarah Bond said the store will be, quote, accessible across all devices, all countries, and no matter what, independent of the policies of closed ecosystem stores, close quote. The store will launch with Microsoft's own games and additional content for said games. Eventually, the store will be open to third party publishers as well. This is not the
Okay.
first Microsoft store to go on
Yes.
mobile, as
No.
when they had their own phone, those mobile Nokia phones, they had their own web based store as well.
Yeah. So key things here. Notice that they're starting with it as a web-based store and not necessarily an app.
Mhm.
That is on purpose because the stuff with Apple's like
EU
opening up the door,
regulation.
the
Yep.
regulations hasn't trickled in yet in the way that I think it will eventually. And so this is kind of them putting their foot in the door, establishing an early consumer base before it goes big launch wide into an app. That also means that you're not going to find a whole lot of games on day one. When this thing launches, it's mostly going to be used for in-game purchases in their existing apps that they own. So, for example, since remember they bought King, Candy Crush stuff will be here. It'll be moved from wherever it is now, and you will buy it here in this storefront. Eventually, of course, they want this to be everything. They want it to be the iPhone or mobile home for all of it, Microsoft stuff. Not yet. They have to wait. So this will kind of be a trickle at first of things. But regardless, this kind of pays off something we've been waiting for them to announce. So they finally did it. And yeah,
I mean, this is what we were waiting for when they bought Activision Blizzard
yeah,
King, is that they want that $1 billion mobile store.
yeah. So only a matter of time until they expand it in the way they want it.
Speaking of expansions, Sony Interactive Entertainment has named two new CEOs
Yeah,
for
not one,
PlayStation Business.
but two.
Yes, they will be succeeding Jim Ryan starting on June 1st in a couple of weeks here. Herman Hulst, who was previously head of PlayStation Studios and Guerrilla Games, will become CEO of the new studio business group, which is responsible for all PlayStation game content, as well as bringing its franchises to new mediums such as film and television. Hideki Nishino, who was previously the senior VP of Sony Interactive Entertainment's Platform Experience Group, will be appointed CEO of SIE's Platform Business Group, which will see him continue to be responsible for technology, products, services, and platform experience, as well as third party publisher and developer relations and commercial operations, including sales and marketing of hardware, services, and peripherals.
Yeah.
So the CEO job got split into two, one to focus on development of content and one to focus on development of hardware and services.
Yeah, I mean, this makes sense when you consider how these are often two very different sides of the business. And in the past, it's kind of been like having one person be the CEO of PlayStation, have that be in charge of all of that is a lot of work. It's a lot of hats to wear all at once. So this divvies up the responsibilities, and I think a way that makes sense to me. There's something else happening in the background here that this story doesn't really delve into, which is that they're reporting directly to Sony now. In the past, the CEO of PlayStation has kind of been the ruler of their own island. They've let the PlayStation division be pretty autonomous in the way that Microsoft has, until recently, done with Xbox. And yeah, that's kind of going away, just in the same way we're seeing kind of that happen over at Microsoft. These two are directly interacting with Sony corporate people now. It's going to tie PlayStation as a brand more to the Sony as a company than ever before. And so that may have lasting changes on the future of the PlayStation brand, but we'll find out how different it'll be.
We've seen something like this similar back in 2006 when both Spider-Man 3 and the PS3 launched at the same time in the exact same font.
Yeah, I know. Well, before it used to be the heat on the street, especially in the PS3 era that you're referring to, was that the little individual divisions of Sony did not communicate with each other at all very well. You had heard stories about like, oh yeah, Sony Pictures doesn't talk to Sony Television, which doesn't talk to PlayStation.
Mhm.
And what you got was situations where like, oh yeah, they have the Bravia line, but is their PlayStation Remote Play compatible? No, not yet, but they're going to talk about it. Stuff like that, where it's like stuff that you thought would have synergy with it just didn't have synergy. And so I think over time, these companies have been working towards that as a goal, and this is yet another step in that process for Sony. But again, remains to be seen how that actually affects the PlayStation division.
Right, this is what we've seen a lot in, especially not in Sony, not just Sony's like movie film division entertainment, but in other like Disney Corporation, uh, Max, HBO, Warner, Discovery, whatever they want to call themselves now, is
Yeah,
this kind of vertical integration across all kind of content where they want both synergy and ownership and domain. So
yeah,
like we've seen more recently with the Fallout premiere, that they want accuracy across all mediums.
And then Last of Us before that, which I think was a real catalyst for them, probably, where they were like, oh, we need to get deeper into TV and film because that really hit. And that was something we did and distributed. And so it's like, yeah, keep that in house, work with their companies. You're going to see a lot more of that.
Yep. I mean, I think also with the Nintendo opening its own production studio and announcing that they're going to do more
Yeah.
in-house films,
Mm.
a la the Zelda announcement that we talked about at the end of last year, that a lot of these studios are not just studios anymore. It's really putting the multimedia
Yeah.
companies.
Yeah. Yep.
But
Yep.
let's not talk about a big company. Let's talk about a small company.
Well,
Eh,
let's talk about Small Kitty.
yeah, but it's a big city.
Yeah, so a billion games, specifically indie games, came out last week. I was able to play one of them. Little Kitty Big City, which sounds adorable because it is adorable. So this is a open world sort of puzzle game where you are a cat and you're in a city, as the name promises. You kind of go around doing cat things, not too dissimilar from Untitled Goose Game, where the goals unravel as you play. So it's not like up front it says, well, there's like one vague mission, which is you've fallen off the sill of your apartment. You need to find out a way to get back up.
Mhm.
But beyond that, you're not given a whole lot of like, do this, do this, do this. You have to discover it for yourself. And you do that by being a cat and doing cat things. So, for example, oh, you see a bird, you can try to pounce on it and catch it. You see a person, you walk by a person, you can press X to nuzzle them. They might pick you up, which I think is rude. If there's water in the path, you can't cross that path. You're a cat. You hate water. So you have to find another way. If there's a soccer ball, I wonder what happens if I nuzzle that soccer ball onto the net. Oh, cool. I finished a mission. That's the kind of game this is. You're kind of just stumbling through the world as a cat and trying to solve little light puzzles, talk to other cats, talk to other animals. Um, and over the course of the game, you unlock new abilities like climbing. You unlock outfits like a little apple bandana to put on your kitty head. And yeah, you're kind of just like getting to know the city and moving around, and you can do all sorts of cute cat things. You can take a nap in sunlight. You can there's a button that does, yes, meow. There's a mechanic where you for the pouncing, you hold down the button and you can aim towards a specific location. Um, like they've really thought of like every like trying to check every box about what would people want to do if they were a cat. You see a cardboard box, you can sit in it. And yes, the mission that you unlock at that point is called If It Fits, I Sits. Because of course it is. If there's a laptop in a bodega that I found and I went and climbed on it, and sure enough, if you pause on that keyboard, one letter will start typing on the screen forever, which is a very, very cute little thing. Oh, and yeah, you can also knock over things and make them smash on the ground if you really want to make people mad. Yeah, it's a fun little game. There's not much to it beyond what I've said. So if that sounds appealing though to you to be a cat and do silly little mischievous cat things, then hey, this game is that, and you'll have a blast with it, especially if you love cats. It's on Game Pass too, so if you want to try it out and you have Game Pass subscription, it's kind of a no-brainer. Go ahead, check it out.
How do you compare it with the cat game of 2 years ago, Stray?
They are really different games. This game is very much like Cat Simulator, whereas Stray had a story to tell. It was very narrative driven. It was puzzle based in a similar way, but more platformer mechanics, more definitely more intricate puzzles, I will say. And it was a little more linear. This is a little bit more open world. So even though they both star a cat, they're doing very different things with that premise. And I think people who are looking for more of a narrative will like Stray a little bit more, and those who are looking for a sandbox to play in will like Little Kitty Big City.
Yeah. One kind of issue with calling it a big city and being a sandbox. How big is the city?
That's a good question, and have not played long enough to know how big it gets. I've only been through like maybe a few city blocks per se, and so yeah, I don't know actually how big it is because, like I said, the way this game is designed is that a lot of it at the onset is locked away from you to access, so you can only go certain places within it. Eventually, I assume when you unlock more things you can do as the cat, you'll be able to go to the city limits, like really go all fully around the big city.
All right. And if you don't have Game Pass, it's on Steam for like what, $30?
Yeah, it's on PC. I think it's about $30. It's not on PlayStation platforms
Okay.
yet. My guess that once the exclusivity window with Game Pass runs out, you will see it on PlayStation.
All right. Can you
That's it.
change the color of your cat, or is it just stuck with the one?
I actually don't know. You start out with a black cat. I know you can
Right.
put clothes on it, but I don't know if you can customize the kind of cat.
Oh, so single kitty.
Single kitty, big city.
All right. I've been playing more Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Um, I don't know. The game keeps like saying, "Hey, you can do the main mission, but really you want you to do all the side content." So I just keep getting
Yeah.
distracted with that because when you only have like an hour, it's like, oh, I'd rather do the side content that I know I can complete within like 3 missions in an hour than like, okay, I don't know when this chapter is gonna end, how long it's gonna be. So
Yeah.
checkboxing along the way there.
Continue checking those boxes.
Oh yeah, well, it continues to provide me with boxes to check.
Exactly.
I swear I will eventually beat that game.
Eventually. All right. Well, if that's all we played. Oh yeah, and more Hades too, of course. They said they did finally say that they are working on the first patch for the game. Because as you know, it's in early access. And by the end of the month, they say that they will deliver some sort of improvement. Right now, they said they're focusing on some mechanics, including the dodge and sprint, as well as how you gather resources. But they're being vague enough where I don't know exactly what they'll change there, and just general balance changes. So yeah, I'll report back perhaps when that hits and tell y'all what's different.
All right.
But in the
Well, in the
meantime,
meantime, we
let's
can
move
move
on.
on.
Yeah, to the second half of the show, which is television. And we always start television with the Sports Corner. And we start with our around sports headlines, starting with the PGA Championship this weekend,
It is this upcoming
this
weekend
coming weekend.
in Valhalla
Yes, in Valhalla, GC
golf
in
course. Yes,
Kentucky.
yes. No, no one is dying to go play
No one
golf.
is dying in
Although in
glory.
COVID, some people were dying to go play golf.
Uh, Anyway, are you excited for the PGA Championship? What are you looking forward to?
If Brooks Koepka can find a way back onto the PGA Championship in order to win, because he is in Live Golf,
Well, yeah.
so he cannot repeat, which means we will have a brand new winner this year.
All right. We'll see who that will be
Yes.
this weekend. Moving on, Manly Man tears are ahead, and who better to deliver them than Serena Williams? I mean, she's yelled at some refs before and gave them Manly Man tears. Serena Williams will be hosting the ESPYs on June 11th, so mark your calendars.
Because a host has been named, get ready to vote because June 11th, it's a month away.
All right. Look forward to Shohei Ohtani winning something.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
Male
makes sense.
athlete of the year, which he's
Yeah,
been snubbed
probably.
for 3 years in a
Probably.
row.
It's probably his year. Let's
Probably.
let's do it. Don't give it to Travis Kelsey. As much as you want Taylor to be there, don't do it. All right. Next up, a UFL update. Yes, it's still happening, folks. The undefeated Birmingham Stallions has clinched the top seed playoff spot with the Michigan Panthers, the Memphis Showboats, the Houston Roughnecks, and the Arlington Renegades, eliminated with 3 weeks remaining.
Yep. That means one more team is going to be eliminated. We still need to figure out who's going to be representing the XFL side of the bracket. Uh, but with the Arlington Renegades being eliminated, that means you will not have a back-to-back champion because
Nope.
they're gone. But the
Bye.
Birmingham Stallions, once again, undefeated in the regular season.
All right.
But all that matters is the playoffs, as we saw last year.
I don't know. You should be careful when you say matters in the UFL in the same sentence. Just
Okay,
anyway.
I'm sorry. Liquids, gas, plasma. What kind of state are you looking for?
Ha ha ha
Ah,
ha. And then, in case you're keeping track, the Paris Olympics are still happening and they're still openings July 26th.
yep, 2 months.
We've had this story in the sports section for like 3 weeks.
Well, that's why it's in the bracket. It's just a
Yeah,
reminder so I don't forget about it.
still happening. All right, let's move on to some league headlines, starting with the NFL. Schedules are here. The Texans and the Bears have the Hall of Fame game. The Ravens and the Chiefs will be your season opener. And the Jets and the 49ers will headline the first Monday Night Football.
That means Aaron Rodgers will literally be the last game of the first week going up against 49ers, who lost the last game of last season.
It's poetry and rhymes.
It is. They were both losers last year, so now they get to both play Monday Night Football.
Anything
Um,
else in football going on?
uh, the schedule of release for all teams
Mm-hmm.
happening tomorrow. We won't cover it here, but I will start planning my yearly imaginary trip of
Yes.
seeing all stadiums within a single year.
Good luck. Good luck with that. Might be more complicated this year than ever before.
Not in my head.
Well, we'll wait for that news to get delivered. In the meantime, we'll move over to Major League Baseball. The baseball season's still going hot. We'll update about our favorite gambler, Ippei Mitsuhara. He, of course, back a few weeks ago, pleaded guilty to bank and tax fraud, and now could face 30 plus years in prison. So say goodbye to Ippei. We will not see him for a very long time.
He that is the max sentence that he can get. I think it's like 35 years. He is taking a plea deal, so it will probably be reduced.
We'll
But
see.
that's 30 in total. I think it's like 5 per account over like 6 different offenses or
Yeah,
7 different offenses. So
it's not.
that's how you get up to 30 years in prison. But he's turning heel on the bookies behind this. So his
Right.
sentence might be reduced, but for sure the infinite ban on baseball is probably happening.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He's not allowed anywhere near a stadium anytime soon.
Yep.
And then other MLB headline this week was your number one overall draft pick. Paul Skeens made his MLB debut for the Pirates this week versus the Cubs and threw some fire out there. Multiple 100+ miles per hour pitches. Looking good already.
85 mile per hour slider.
Yeah. Yeah, folks. This guy coming out of the gate roaring. So he'll be somebody to watch for the Pirates.
I mean, do we call him a local hero if he's on the Pirates?
No, not local to us.
Well, no, because didn't he like play high school or down here local to us?
Oh, is this the guy?
Yes, this is
Yeah,
the
there's so
guy.
many of them. It's hard to keep track. Is he another SoCal guy?
Yes, I believe he
I'm
is.
gonna real quick look this up if you want to vamp for a second.
Yeah, I mean, he had quite a good opening debut. Although his ERA
Yeah.
is 6.24, but that's because he already had 2 guys on base and a base hit allowed two to run, scores to run in that inning. So
Yeah.
it wildly exceeded his ERA, but uh, give him more
Yeah.
time, that'll just drop
Right.
like immediately on his
Oh,
next.
yeah.
But he
Yeah.
had like what 7 strikeouts
Yeah.
through like 4 innings, I think.
Which for your debut is not bad at all.
Yeah,
So yeah, you're right. He is a local boy, Orange County, California, born and raised. He went to El Toro High School in Lake Forest, right in my backyard when I was growing
Yep.
up, and then was born in Fullerton. But he did not stay here for college. He went to LSU.
Yep.
So there you go. So yeah, hometown boy of Paul Skeens. Good to know. How is he not an angel? Come on. Who dropped the
Scheme,
ball?
scheme, scheme, schemes.
Skeens. All right. Anything in baseball that we need to cover?
Uh,
Are both teams that didn't have 10 wins now do, we should
yes.
say. So the Mariners and the, or not the Mariners, the Marlins, sorry, the other M team. The
Yes.
Marlins
The other
and
coast.
yes, the Marlins and the White Sox now finally have passed that 10 game threshold. So congratulations to them.
Yep. And baseball continues to baseball.
Yep.
We are still 2 months out from All Star. We're 1 month out from All Star
Yes.
voting starting.
Yes.
Actually, no,
Should
we
we?
are 2 weeks out. It
Yeah.
begins Memorial Weekend. Memorial
No, no,
Weekend
no, no.
is the start of
Is
yeah
it?
of All Star voting because it goes through the month of
Oh,
June.
voting. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So yes, vote for
voting's
your
through the
favorites.
month of June.
However, don't throw your vote away for Mike Trout. He can't play. So please vote for other people. He cannot play in the All-Star game. We knew that already. So don't vote for others. Vote for other people that deserve it. Anyway, spread the love.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the real hot sport right now, which of course is basketball, who everybody has the eyes on the playoffs right now.
Yep.
Um, Nikola Jokic won the third MVP award in his career. So congratulations.
Yep.
The 20. Yeah, any
What?
comments about that?
Oh, yeah. I mentioned this last week that he's probably going to win. Yeah, he
Yeah,
won.
you called it. You called it. Easy.
Yeah, he's still in the
The 20.
playoffs, so yeah, of course he won.
Yep. Looking forward to after the dust settles here, though. The 2024 draft will be taking place at the Barclays Center in New York on June the 26th, the same day that the Olympics. Oh no, July 26th. Never mind.
July.
I was like confused for a second. But no,
Nope. And we
June
had the
26th.
lottery this past week.
Yes, where Atlanta took the #1 overall pick, followed by Washington, Houston, San Antonio, and Detroit.
Man, San Antonio getting a top four, the number 4 pick in this year's draft after just having the rookie of the year, Victor Wembanyama.
Dang.
So you can be the rookie of the year and still be on a sucky team.
Wow. It turns out that it's always possible.
Yes, it is. Just ask Shaq.
And then, yeah, exactly. Like I said, playoffs are continuing. More games tonight, I think. So
Yes,
tune
they
in.
are.
In the meantime, hockey also has their draft to look forward to. Their 2024 draft will take place inside the Las Vegas Sphere on June the 28th, 2 days after the NBA's. In that draft lottery, the San Jose Sharks won the overall #1 pick, followed by the Blackhawks, the Ducks,
Ooh.
the Blue Jackets, and the Canadiens.
Ooh.
Yeah, sorry, none
Uh,
for
th
you.
3 out of those 4 teams are in the West Coast Division, Pacific
None
Division.
for you. None for you. And their hockey playoffs continue as well. So,
Those hockey playoffs are continuing to hockey playoffs.
yes. All right, then you have a placeholder here for college sports, but anything going on there?
Yes, they are all graduating.
Oh, well, yeah. I
Graduations are
mean,
currently happening.
that's not news.
Oh, okay.
All right, so nothing. Anything else in sports then before we move on?
Actually, there's one thing I want to find out.
There's this one thing I want to find out.
Yeah, the NCAA baseball playoffs going to Omaha. I
Uh-huh.
want to say
Omaha.
those brackets are not set yet. May 21st when it starts, so next week.
Okay.
So yeah, that's next Tuesday. We'll have the bracket set for um selection show. Actually, no, the following May. May 27th is the selection show for College World Series, with the regional starting on May 31st and the finals taking place on June 22nd. So we'll have
Okay.
more updates when that comes in 2 weeks.
We sure will. Okay. All right. Let's move on then into television news. And this week we're talking about Disney. Oh wait, no, we're talking about Max. Oh wait, no, we're talking about both. Gasp.
It's up. It's a crossover.
It's a crossover episode, as they say. This summer, we'll see a new triple play bundle of Disney Plus, Hulu, and Max. Duh. Though no pricing info or specific launch date has been announced at this point, Disney and Warner Brothers Discovery said that the bundle will be available for purchase on any of the three streaming platforms' websites and offered as both an ad-supported and an ad-free plan. Hulu already has agreements to sell add-on subscriptions for Max and Paramount Plus with Showtime. Disney and Warner have also joined forces, along with Fox Corp, to launch a streaming sports bundle, which we've already talked about, which is slated to debut this fall. Critics, though, have alleged the joint venture, which some have dubbed Spoolu, which, of course, portmanteau of sports and Hulu, that's pretty dumb, is anti-competitive and violates antitrust law. However, no suits have come up yet because the thing doesn't exist. So quite
Yes.
yet. So we'll see what happens legally to this, but that's a problem for fall us. In the meantime, this bundle is interesting, and yeah, if it does save us some money, might have to look into it.
I mean, yes, you can already add, if you already have Hulu and Hulu Live TV, you can add either Max or Paramount plus Showtime to it. I think you also add Stars to it. Like they're basically doing the thing where like I think even Amazon allows you to add on to their bundle as well. Or it's not bundle, it's just an add-on subscription service, but to bundle it up and save some money, perhaps. If I'm already doing the triple play with Disney, if they can get me Max for like $5 cheaper, that's $60 a year I'm saving. That's a night out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, anything to save a buck. And I think this just more in line shows that it's cable's right around the corner again. They're gonna start bundling. What was it? Talk about like Paramount. Whenever Paramount gets sold, Paramount Plus is gonna go with somebody, whether it's Apple or Amazon, and just be like, oh yeah, you just get this with it included, just like with Discovery got included with Max when that deal went through.
Yeah.
So everything is just gonna become one big streaming service yet again, and everyone's gonna be kicking themselves of why did we ever give up on Hulu?
Well, we'll see if that actually happens. But for now, everybody's making deals with everybody, and it's just chaos, complete chaos.
All the chaos. Speaking of
Oh,
chaos,
speaking of chaos, let's move on into thoughts where we watch some chaotic things. Let's go in order of chronological order here. So we have been watching The Circle on Netflix. And in case you're not part of the Circle fam, hashtag Circle fam, it's a reality show that basically, I don't know how you describe The
it
Circle.
isolates
Everybody's
people and
isolated.
forces
Yeah.
them to communicate via social media
Yeah.
platform.
A social media platform that's created for them. So they can't see each other. They don't know who they are, but they can see pictures that have been uploaded and they can chat digitally. And hijinks ensue. Well, this year particularly, they tried to amp up the hijinks every single chance they could by leaning right into drama, and ended up kind of for mixed results. I don't know about your household, but this household, we were not a fan largely of how this season went.
Uh, it was interesting that this season didn't have as many hijinks as previous seasons. Also, the ending was seemed very abrupt. There was
Yeah,
no dinner where everyone met. There was no
yeah,
host at the end
we
to
noticed that too.
introduce and do like a Q&A at the end. There was no secret you're coming back or secret you never left.
Right.
There wasn't even any even in the final blocking, we like leading up to it, we thought, oh, you're gonna have to go and block them in person. Didn't do that. They've done that all previous seasons for the final blocking. Didn't do that here. Just like, oh, we're gonna let you choose.
Yeah.
So it seemed a little bit more laid back and relaxed than compared to previous seasons.
I did not get a laid back and relaxed vibe at all. We thought it was interesting that every single game that the players had to play had some sort of like trash talking element to it. There was nothing that they did just for fun. Like it wasn't just paint another player. It was paint another player and point out their flaw. Another thing that we thought was it felt really top loaded, as you meant that there was no kind of, as you mentioned, there was no like real curveball towards the end. They played their two gimmicks at the beginning of the season, the AI and the ride or die thing.
Hmm.
And so by the time that the season was over, it was like, well, okay, now we've had several episodes now of just them just playing straight without any sort of big surprises, really. And that was kind of disappointing too. Um, I guess it really depends on what you're looking for in the circle. And I think that maybe what we're looking for is not necessarily what the larger fan base cares about. We kind of like when people are just playing to be friends. And there wasn't a whole lot of that this year. There was a lot of strategy.
There's a lot, definitely with the that last blocking. There's a lot of strategy thrown into it.
Mm.
Um, Poor Miles, although it was the move that won the game, so you
That's
can't
true.
really
That's
fault for
true.
that. I think
Yeah.
for me, there was a definitely a sense of lack of catfish in here. I think
Yeah,
in
I mean
total there was two.
there was a catfish who won though, notably.
The first one to win, yes. But I think in total there was only two people who were in as catfish. I don't count Jordan
Yeah,
because that's still
right.
himself, just older
I
pictures.
agree, yeah.
But yeah, in total, I think it was uh just two people who came in as a catfish, whereas
Yeah.
multiple seasons you have multiple people. One thing that I thought was going to happen before was the ride or die, that they were both going to be blocked. They both say they were going to take the money and then come back in as a single new player, which I think might have happened if one
Yeah.
person had sacrificed themselves. But yeah, there's a lot of strategy. I think you're right. There's a lot of strategy in this game. I didn't really enjoy this season as much as other seasons. And I think might be doing with like the change of location too. Um, in the opening, they said they moved it from Dallas to Atlanta for a bigger location, bigger sets. All the rooms look different. I don't know if that's good or not yet. I liked all like the standard rooms that they used to have.
Well, no, notably, this is in a different location completely.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah,
they
it's a
kind of
completely
had to
different
rebuild it.
city. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, nonetheless, though, the good news is that as quickly as this one's over, we'll get another one because another season is coming at the end of the year.
Right, because this one was
So,
supposed to come in January and it didn't.
yeah, so yeah, so don't worry, won't be long till you get more. But yeah, it was all right. We didn't hate it, didn't love it, just kind of a middling season. Here's another thing that involves a lot of middling things. You watched the greatest roast of all time, quote unquote, colon Tom Brady. So how was
Yes,
the Tom Brady roast?
Tom Brady got roasted. Uh, I guess roasts are back, which means Jeff Frost has something to do now. But he was not the MC. Instead, it was Kevin Hart, and so many short jokes were thrown his way.
Yeah.
Of course, they all went right over his head, but
Ah,
uh,
ah,
uh,
got him.
but the main focus was on Tom Brady and Tom Brady's associates, being of Bill Belichick, Robert Kraft, and mostly Rob Gronkowski. You could get drunk very easily on the amount of CTE jokes they made at Gronk's expense,
Yikes.
when I feel like it should have been more focused on Tom himself. Um, I will say that Nikki Glazer absolutely killed it, and it's a good thing she went first, or actually she went second. Jeff Frost went first. She went second in terms of the comedians, and just it went downhill from there. Just absolute train wrecks of comedians trying their best to one up the previous ones, but you just can't do it. Nikki just like killed it, knocked it out of the park. Definitely made fans of people who weren't already fans of her. But I
She has
think
a
one of
new
the
special up, I think, this week
she
as
does
well.
this week she does.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that we like to see from these roasts is athletes who aren't normally in the front in the spotlight, aren't known for comedians, coming out and making jokes. Like
Yeah.
Drew Bledsoe was out there, Randy Moss, Julian Edelman. Uh, my favorite joke came from Drew Bledsoe of Tom Brady will never know two things: how to be a number one draft pick at a 28th year anniversary. And then like Randy Moss was all up about like how he was on the Patriots for 3 years and didn't win a ring. And I was like, oh, you tainted my legacy. I should have had a ring. How come we didn't have a ring, Tom? You should have cheated with me. But yeah, it's all fun and games and jokes at Tom Brady. It is 3 hours long, so it's a lot of jokes of Tom Brady,
It's
which
a
is
lot of roast.
yeah, which is why, like I said at the beginning, a lot of them were attacked his other teammates, and a lot of jokes at Gronk's expense, just
Mhm.
from him being there. But that's what you get when you join a roast, and like you're expected to get roasted back. But like I said, it high in the beginning, and then about like after like the first hour and a half, you just slowly tank in quality. Just kind of you don't hear the same jokes, just the same jokes told in different ways.
Yeah.
So yeah, 3 hours is definitely a long time for that. But did you see the replay on Netflix has the Kim Kardashian portion edited out from all the booze?
I did not hear that, but that's pretty funny.
Yeah, apparently, like when we watched it, it got to her that said she was only up there for like 5 minutes total. Apparently, it was longer, but they just booed her constantly and just edited all of that out.
Oh no.
Yes.
Yikes.
Also, why is she there as a roaster?
I don't know. You get weird people to be on those things.
No.
Anyway. Anywho. The other speaking of Netflix live things. I haven't jumped into it yet. I'm thinking about going into the archive of it. But also last week on Netflix was the John Mulaney Everybody's in LA series of specials
Yes.
that he did live every night. I'm thinking about checking that out. I don't know, maybe while I'm eating dinner tonight. But yeah, I heard that happened and might check it out.
I haven't heard anything about that because the roast to Tom Brady, which happened the same weekend,
Right.
kind of overshadowed it. So I haven't
Yeah, a
seen
little bit.
anybody talk about the John Mulaney special.
Yeah. But
But I don't know,
maybe.
might check it out.
All right. Anything else in television before we move on?
Um, this week is upfronts week for TV, which means all the networks and broadcasters are showcasing what's upcoming for the fall schedule.
Yes.
As such, a lot of stuff got announced as renewed and coming back. So we'll get right into that right
Yes.
now.
Right now, with the longest cancellations and renewals segment we've ever done. So strap in. There's a lot to cover. Let's start with a block of miscellaneous, which starts with Chad. Yes, that was still on. Canceled after 2 seasons on TBS/ the Roku channel, where it existed for a second season.
Yeah, the Roku channel bought the entire second season because it was
Yeah.
about to air, but that's officially now canceled.
Bye. Someone hired Nassim Petrad to do literally anything else because that wasn't working. Uh, Extended Family got canceled after 1 season on NBC. Yep, you called that one. Not a good premise. Not Dead Yet, canceled after 2 seasons on ABC. I could have called that one. I hated that pilot.
Yep.
Scavenger's Reign canceled after 1 season on Max. I actually heard good things about that. Uh, so this is kind of sad.
This is the
Housebroken.
animated series
Yeah, it was
on Max.
animated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Housebroken canceled after 2 seasons on Fox. Constellation canceled after 1 season on Apple TV Plus, and The Other Black Girl canceled after 1 season on Hulu. You have a break here. Am I
Because
supposed
you're
to
now the
pause?
renewals.
Oh, okay. I'm supposed to pause for breath, I guess.
Well, because it's a long one, so
Yeah. So moving on to some
catch your breath because
miscellaneous.
they're about to run through all of this.
Yeah, miscellaneous renewals here. All right. Such Brave Girls will get a second season on Hulu. Deal or No Deal Island will get a second season on NBC. Why? Who can say? Lopez versus Lopez, which is George Lopez and his daughter,
Yes.
will get a third season on NBC. I didn't even realize it at first. The Shy on Paramount Plus will get a 7th season. Lioness on Paramount Plus will get a 2nd season. Ted, the series on Peacock, will get a 2nd season. Somebody's watching it. Law and Order: Organized Crime will get a 5th season on NBC and Peacock.
This new season will be exclusively on
Peacock.
Peacock.
Okay. When Calls the Heart will get a 12th season on Hallmark Channel.
I know at
Is
least
this
one
the
person
one?
excited on that.
Yeah, this is the one that people called you out about.
Yes.
That's right. Heartbreak High will get a 3rd season. Its 3rd season will be its last on Netflix is one. They're down to one
Yep,
now.
single one.
Alert: Missing Persons Unit will get a 3rd season on Fox. The Floor, the game show, The Floor, will get 2 more seasons. So that will go at least until a 3rd season on Fox.
Yes.
The Cleaning Lady will get a 4th season on Fox. Universal Basic Guys will get a 2nd season on Fox.
That is a upcoming fall release for the Animation Domination Sunday lineup.
Okay.
That Renewal is ahead of its premiere this upcoming fall.
Got it. Okay. Coach Prime will get a 3rd season on Prime Video. Cross will get a 2nd season on Prime Video, or maybe you should say that one.
That is Cross.
Thank you.
No,
Running
this is
jokes. We gotta
this
keep
is Alex Cross
okay.
series of books. The James Patterson book series.
Right.
This is a renewal ahead of its season 1 premiere next month.
Okay. Good to know. Then we have season 2 of Mr. and Mrs. Smith on Prime Video. Pardon me.
But no guarantees of either of Maya Erskine or Donald Glover set to return. So this may be a new Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Well, we'll see. And then also on Prime Video, The Boys will be getting a 5th season. So more boys.
Yep.
All right.
And they didn't say it was a finale, so
yeah,
assume it's not.
So it's not. All right. There's so many on ABC, it gets its own block. So let's go through it. The Conners gets a 7th season, but it will be its last. American Idol will come back for a 23rd season. So this is denoting that it's the 8th season on ABC. That's how I'm intended to read this. Okay.
Yes.
Got it. The Bachelor, of course, will come back for a 29th season. Celebrity Wheel of Fortune and Celebrity Jeopardy will be returning for a 5th and 3rd season, respectively. Dancing with the Stars will be back as well for a 33rd season. That's too many. Yep. Shark Tank will return for a 16th season. What Would You Do comes back for an 8th season. And America's Funniest Home Videos gets a 35th season on ABC.
And they just announced who the new Golden Bachelor is going to be. And it is a Golden Bachelorette this upcoming year.
Yes, Golden Bachelorette is coming.
Yep.
All right. And then lastly, if you care about Bravo shows, well, get ready. Here's a bunch of Bravo shows. Southern Hospitality will get a 3rd season. Southern Charm will get a 10th season. Top Chef gets a 22nd season. Married to Medicine gets its 11th season. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, 5th season. Real Housewives of Potomac, 9th season. Real Housewives of Atlanta, a 16th season. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, a 14th season. The OG, Real Housewives of Orange County, an 18th season. Real Housewives of Miami, a 2nd season. But that one is on Peacock. Gotcha. Then Summer House will get a 9th season, on Bravo. Below Deck will get a 12th season. The Valley gets a 2nd season. And Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, because you need a show to talk about all of those shows that I mentioned. We'll get an 8th season.
Yeah, so Bravo doesn't change at all.
No.
It looks like it hasn't changed in the past 5 years.
They
10 years, actually. Southern Charm, 10 years.
They figured out
Below Deck, 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
Real Housewives, plethora since 10 years. So yeah, past 10 years, Bravo is looking the same.
You get a formula down, and if it works, then it works. And you can just do it forever.
The Drum.
The Drum.
Oh, I don't know if we talked about it, but Vanderpump also renewed. Just they won't be filming this summer. They're skipping one to film next summer.
Aha. Got it.
Yep.
All right. That's it for television. We have one death you didn't mention. I just want to mention it in from the music world. Steve Albini died at age 61 of heart attack. He was a mostly known for being an engineer, but also as a musician in several of his own bands, including one that we mentioned in the new releases, Shellac. But yes, he's mostly known for engineering records, famously the engineer behind In Utero by Nirvana, as well as many other classics. So yeah, definitely has an indelible impact on alternative rock as we know it today. Without him, a lot of bands wouldn't have been as big. A lot of sounds would not have been as prevalent. He kind of engineered a very specific guitar sound in the 90s that we still hear today. So yeah, he will definitely be missed. So yeah, just figured I would mention him. All right, let's move on then into the movies section, our last section of the day. And we always start the movies section with the weekend box office numbers. And your number one movie this week is debuting at number one, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, with a debut of $58 million, falling slightly short of, I think, the most optimistic estimates.
Of 120 million opening
Yeah.
weekend. Yeah.
But definitely I think did okay considering. Falling in at number two, right behind that, is The Fall Guy with $13.7 million. That's at 50 total domestic. Number three, Challengers, $4.6 million. That's at 38 million. Number four, Tarot, 3.4 million this week. That's at 12. And rounding out your top five, Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire with another $2.5 million. That's at 191, still crawling towards 200.
So I think if Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes came out next month for Father's Day weekend, you might see a bigger number here. But
But
moms don't want to go see apes.
I guess not. Moms, do moms love apes? I don't know. Tell us.
Hmm.
All right. Upcoming this week, though, you have two very different movies coming out on Friday. One for the families and one not. First up is If. This is the Ryan Reynolds imaginary friend thing. That is a PG rated, bring the kids thing. So we'll see how that does. And then we also have Back to Black, the Amy Winehouse biopic, which, from everything I've seen pre-release, does not seem to be very good. So yeah, buyer beware on that one. But yeah, there you go. Those are your new movies this week.
Yep, just those two as summer movie season technically officially kicked off, but
Yeah,
you couldn't tell by the box office
no.
numbers.
Next week, though, is the big one. You have Furiosa and Garfield.
Yes,
Yeah,
Chris Pratt is Garfield,
somehow. All right,
and
let's
Anya
move on.
Taylor-Joy is Furiosa.
It's true. They should share a weekend, believe it or not. Let's move into the movie news for the week, and we're going to talk about Beowulf.
Yeah, I remember reading that in high school. I mean,
Yeah, the
forced to read that.
classic epic poem Beowulf has been adapted multiple times, but a new adaptation is in the works, this time from the Jim Henson Company. Their live action monster tale Grendel, which is based on the enemy of Beowulf, not Beowulf himself, has rounded out its cast with Jeff Bridges in the role of Grendel, as well as Dave Bautista as Beowulf. That's good casting. And Bryan Cranston, that's good casting, as King Hrothgar.
Yes,
Robert
he doesn't
D.
have to shave his beard for it.
Yeah, I guess not. Robert D. Krakowski, the man who killed Hitler, I guess that's something he directed, directs from the screenplay he adapted from John Gardner's novel about the legendary monster at the heart of the Beowulf epic poem, who steps forward to tell his side of the tale. Production is set to begin later this year in Europe. Jim Henson's Creature Shop will handle practical creature work and design, so get ready for some practical creatures.
Yes, a practical take on the story of Grendel. None of this Robert Zemeckis CGI
Yeah, yes, we
bullshit that
remember.
is what Angelina Jolie in
Ugh,
full CGI get up.
yes. That's what I was thinking about as well, is that last time they adapted Beowulf, and ooh, there's
Yes.
also a really awful video game that came out around the time of that. So yeah, not great. But maybe
Yes.
this one?
Yeah. So this is not the tale of the poem. This is what we've seen more recently in trend of
Mhm.
movies, is seeing the story from the quote unquote villain's side.
Yeah. I
So
think
this
it's
is,
an interesting
yeah,
take, potentially.
yeah. So maybe we'll get to understand why Grendel the monster was attacking the kingdom. Or were they really seeking shelter from an even bigger threat?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, no, he's just running away from mother.
Something like that. All right, so that'll be it for movie news, and I think that's it for the podcast. We didn't watch any movies this week, did we?
We did not.
Okay. Well, then in that case, thank you for joining us for this fine Media Boat podcast, where we're in and out in almost an hour.
Yep.
This economical podcast was brought to you by viewers like you. And if viewers like you want to watch the video or the audio version of the podcast, you can do so by going out to youtube.com to see the videos. We upload new videos, and if you're a subscriber and if you click the bell for notifications, you get notified when there's new videos. So check that out. New episodes of the show go on YouTube every week. So tune in to Media Boat Podcast. Just search that and you'll find our channel. You can also find us on podcast services by searching Media Boat on there as well. We're everywhere. We're on iHeartRadio, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts. Wherever you listen to podcasts, search us and you'll find us. You can also find us on the web at mediaboatpodcast.com, where we have a visual archive of our shows as well as special features. You can also see us on social media channels like X/Twitter, where we're at MediaBoatCast. Facebook, maybe search MediaBoat there. And
Mhm.
twitch.tv/MediaBoat, where you can find Mike occasionally playing video games such as Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And last but definitely not least, if you want to email us questions, comments, feedback about the show, anything you want to know or tell us, you can do so. Mediaboatpodcast@gmail.com is that email address. But that'll do it for us today. So we'll be back next week for another episode full of other things. We'll talk about Billie Eilish, perhaps. We'll talk about some other things if this stuff comes up. So yeah, tune in then.
Yep. We'll be back with more news, more thoughts, and more of us. Okay, bye.
Bye.